Canadian Mortgage Weekly. We're so excited that you guys can join us today. We have a really good episode with some awesome information for you. So my name is Sam Thompson. I'm a local mortgage agent, but more importantly, we're joined this morning by Joe Bladek. Joe, you've been a mortgage professional, a broker, in fact, in the industry for over 10 years. A little bit about Joe. Joe's an awesome drummer. He lives up in Aurelia with his family. He's got a ton of knowledge, and yeah, I'm really excited to get in today's video with you, Joe. How are you today?
Oh, Sam, thanks very much for that great introduction. I'm doing well. Thanks very much. I hope you're doing well as well. And just right back at you as well. Sam Thompson, he's a local mortgage professional, as he mentioned, and he's from Ottawa, moved to Bay Area just over a year ago. And he's been with Mega Mortgage now for over a year, and he's been really helping our clients with our getting pre-approved and getting started with the mortgage process. And he's been doing a great job. So Sam, welcome as well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a rainy day, so
yeah, sure
enjoying
is.
working from home inside, but yeah, I'm doing really good.
Yeah, definitely a rainy day. Great for the grass, getting a free car wash out of it as
Yeah,
well.
that's right.
Yeah, it's always good to get that done. So, but with what's going on with the weather, it should be a good day tomorrow, and yeah, a good start to the weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, there's a lot of news that's been happening in the mortgage market this week as well, Sam.
There is quite a lot of news, and I think we're gonna touch on some of the big factors. We like to cover off anything big that maybe our clients have seen, or if you're, keeping a pulse on the mortgage or housing market. Yeah, we've got some great news.
Yeah, we definitely do. And one of those things is that we mentioned last week on Canadian Mortgage Weekly Live that we saw a little bit of a change happening in the bond market, which could
Mhm.
indicate that fixed rates could come down shortly. And it's been continuing this week as well with the trend going down. So it hasn't happened yet, but fixed rates could fall potentially later this week or next week, which could be could just put that much more fire on the housing market that we have now.
Absolutely, yeah, that would be awesome. I know that we had looked at, rates a little bit in a previous video, I believe, and we looked at an article that said that based on today's rate, buyers, 60% almost of their first payment is going towards principal rather than interest. So to see the fixed rate drop even further is awesome, especially, if you're a first time buyer looking to get into the market and save some money on interest by locking in for that 5 year rate. That's really, really good news for them.
Yeah, it really is. And while we keep an eye on that fixed rate, we'll keep in touch with all of you viewers with that. So if there's any ever change, you can get started on your pre-approval. And if you have a pre-approval already, then we can lower that for you still.
Mhm.
But there's some awesome news with regards to the variable rate. And we're seeing now that lenders have been lowering their variable rate on 5-year variable rate mortgages.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
awesome to hear as well.
Yeah, and because of that, the spread between the fixed rate and the variable rate is getting larger, and it's in my opinion, it would encourage a lot of folks to take the variable rate now because it's getting that much lower.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. But we'll keep an eye on that and we'll see what happens next week. But with that, with the rates coming down just a slight amount on the variable rate, we're seeing also that prices have come just a slight bit downward as well. There has been some pressure because of the extra supply, so it has put um, a lot of power back into the buyer's hands these last few months, whereas the first few months of the year was very much a seller's market.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing, a little bit of a switch and a shift towards, houses are staying on the market a little longer. They're not selling quite as high as they were, like you're saying, earlier in the year.
Mhm.
So we would really advise almost, right, that this is a great time to get into the market before, every report we've been seeing is saying that fall's going to be crazy,
Exactly.
and very busy. So it's really a prime time to get in.
I agree, Sam. Great time to get in with rates coming down as low as they have been, um, especially with prices where they're at now. There's still quite a bit of inventory in pockets in Ontario. I know I was chatting with a realtor down in Toronto, and he was saying that the supply is starting to dry up now, getting back to that supply crunch that we started to see just at the very start of it. So uh, it goes in line with, Sam, what you're saying, that in the fall we're expecting to see an increase, and a lot of economists have been saying that. So getting in now could help you gain once you hit the fall.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that one of the realtors that we work with previously in the summer was saying as well that, by the fall, it's expected, house prices are expected to, jump up another 15 or so percent.
Hmm.
So if you can get in before that jump, that's a great move to make, for that startup equity for sure.
Yeah, exactly. We could see that happening with kids going back to school and everyone getting back into the rhythm of life. And then once that happens, folks will have the time to start searching for their new home. They'll see the rates are low. They'll see the prices are going back up because the inventory is getting lower as well, and it's just going to fuel the market that much further. So get in now, and definitely give us a call or an email to get started on your pre-approval process, because with this great news, you want to see where you're at and we can get all that done.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's enough about the news side of things. I know we have a great presentation planned. Sam, you've put together some really good information about your home buying team this week.
Absolutely. On the topic of, chatting about, the timing is becoming more and more right now, to
Yes.
purchase your home. It's really good to think about, of course, where you should start in the process, chatting with whether it's a realtor or a mortgage agent, or professional who is your first choice. But there's quite a number of people that are involved in your mortgage and, owning a home, going through that purchase process. So we really wanted to just shed, a bit of light on all the folks that are going to be involved, maybe some that you weren't previously aware of, or hadn't thought of. So, excuse me. We're
Yeah.
going to jump into a presentation, just to cover off, what people you can expect, things to keep in mind, when you're setting up your home buyers team.
Yeah, it's a really important thing to have in mind before you start looking at a home, just who you're going to deal with. And uh, if you're watching this presentation today and you have any questions about anyone that you have to deal with during your home buying process that you would wish to ask us, just drop us a comment below or send us a private message. We'll be able to get back to you with some information with that
Mhm.
for you.
Absolutely. So hopping into, what's the importance on, setting up your buyer's team, is you have time to research all your providers. I know that we are likely not the only, mortgage team or mortgage agent in the Barrie Simcoe area. So there's going to be, with each of the slides that we go through, numerous, um, providers of each of those service. So taking the time now while you're not in, a 4 week to 2 month, closing window, it's really going to help you out to, to have a bit of a look in on what's available to you as a home buyer.
Yeah, definitely. Having the time to research up front, Sam, just it will give uh, all that information at your fingertips when you're ready to make that decision. And
Hmm.
we can also connect, and you can also connect with each provider ahead of time to ensure that they're going to be available to help you during the time you're buying your home, because we're seeing a lot of home appraisers right now not available for weeks at a time, lawyers not available for weeks at a time. So just to get that sorted out and to ensure that they're going to be able to offer you the service that you need.
That's right. Yeah, I know that even chatting, with a recent deal where they needed to make sure it was insurable because, some things were a bit outdated. So that's a great thing to know ahead of time, even in the process of when you're, you know, in the process of putting an offer, looking at a house, making sure that, we were chatting with that previous client about getting home insurance. So a lot of those things, it's good to have, a head start and make sure that it is available and it can be done in the time frame you're looking for.
Yeah. And, just, if we're shopping for a home, having all that information up front just makes it stress free because you're going to know that as soon as you're done dealing with, say, a mortgage professional, you're ready to start shopping for a home, and you just know the flow of how things go, right? And
Hmm.
how and what to expect.
Yeah, exactly. And it does avoid any last minute referrals for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. With that in specific, if you have everybody set up ahead of time, you don't necessarily need to rely on other folks that could refer someone that may be biased to their agenda at the time, to so you can have everything up front and vet out your professionals before you start working with them and are in that moment where you need your financing set up, you need your home insurance set up, and you don't have time to shop around at that point.
That's right. Yeah. And it's also a very personal experience. So having somebody that, you feel comfortable with, you've connected with, prior to, the sale and closing and all of that, when, it may be a bit of a high stress situation. If you already have some relationship with them to fall back on, again, that's going to be so much more beneficial in the long run.
You bet. Absolutely.
All right. So jumping into where you should ideally start the process is by connecting with a mortgage broker, agent, provider, whatever it is. Um, it's a really big step because you need to know how much you qualify for. I mean, we run the webinars for first-time buyers, and we say it there. I'll say it again that the last thing we want you to see is connect with an agent first. Look at homes that are, maybe they're 100,000 to even 50,000 outside of what your max qualifying amount is. Then you have to do the really sad, unfortunate backtrack, and you lose the in-ground pool. You maybe lose the garage that's attached. You have to make compromises. So if you chat with Joe, myself, Terry Lynn at the office, any mortgage professional, it's a great starting spot to know where you qualify in the market.
Yeah, exactly. And Sam, you mentioned a good point. We do those webinars, and in those webinars, you frequently mention a lot all the programs available to first-time buyers, and
Mhm.
just knowing that a professional can handle helping you administer those programs like you do really helps out. Knowing that you have the right professionals on your side.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a great starting point, and we would advise a mortgage professional outside of your bank just for the variety of products, rates, incentives that are available. They really do get to, we get to shop around on your behalf. So really, it's a great starting spot to get your financial plan in order. And even as we're seeing, rates as low as they are, getting a pre-approval with a rate hold is an amazing, golden ticket when you're looking at houses and there's all these offers.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that pre-approval is good to get in place. It's active for 4 months, and usually, if your pre-approval expires, it's really easy just to reactivate it, and we can get that at sometimes lower rates if rates have gone down.
Absolutely. And once we get you, your pre-approval letter, your rate hold from the lender, your next best stop is going to be chatting with a real estate agent. This is where, everyone sees this end on TV. It's way more fun than chatting with Joe and myself. You're looking at properties. So it's definitely important to, again, because it is a personal decision, it's really good to suss out what agent kind of fits your vibe. They know what you're looking for in an agent, and they'll be able to actually run you through properties that are available to you, and can find things in your range.
Exactly. And just making sure that, the buyer's agent is the one that you're working with is an important thing. Just to know that someone is on your side. And like you're saying, Sam, if they know that they're pre-approved, that you're pre-approved, they're going to take you much more seriously. And
Mhm.
when you're calling them and texting them a home, they're actually going to show that home to you and make that a listing appointment for you to go and see that listing and take your actions very seriously. Whereas if you're not pre-approved, that agent doesn't know if that offer will work out and will take just your actions a lot less seriously. And it could put you behind if you're really in competition for a home.
And we really want to advise using a local agent who's also a buyer's
Yes,
agent. We don't want you to rely on the seller's agent. The buyer's agent is going to be the one who's advocating 100% on your behalf. And the benefit of a buyer's agent, some people think they'll just do, their own offer. They'll go in without an agent to save money, or maybe it's an easier process. But it's actually a lot better, especially with the inventory we're seeing, to have a buyer's agent, because they can see things before they hit realtor.ca, or different avenues where you may be searching and thinking there's nothing available. Well, the real estate buyer's agents, they have an internal system where they'll see properties that you might not see until it's already hit the market, and maybe it's already gone by the time you see it.
exactly. It's a great point, Sam. I guess the next thing we can chat about there is once you've put together a offer with your real estate agent and you have that conditional on your financing, conditional on your home inspections, all your conditions. Your bank or lender or mortgage broker, mortgage agent, mortgage professional, whoever it is you're working with, may request an appraisal on your home. So just
Mm-hmm.
to know that could be a possibility. Really helps out because sometimes there is an upfront cost, sometimes there isn't. And just knowing all the metrics involved with that, how the process works, can make things a lot more smoother. And I'm sure you've seen, Sam, appraisals can sometimes take a few days.
Absolutely. Again, we had chatted about at the very start of this slideshow, just getting ahead of things. And, appraisals are one of those things that sometimes it does, take a window, and we have to call a few different places to find one who can do it within the time frame that you're looking for. So again, having, this in mind when you're putting in an offer and when you're making a purchase, having a go-to you know, company or appraiser in mind is really going to be beneficial.
Yeah, it really will. And also, when you're dealing with a broker, an agent, uh, we're able to really have a good idea and pulse on the appraisers in the market to help
Mm.
the situation. Maybe we have relationships with those appraisers that can help the appraiser get the home report to the bank faster. All we will do is facilitate the process as your mortgage professionals and make sure that it's done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And a lot of the times with using a broker, you're able to, if an appraiser, if there's certain appraisers not available for that particular lender that we're working with, we can switch lenders and sometimes use completely different appraisers, and being
Mhm,
able to keep your file at the top of mind and back to you as soon as possible.
mhm,
And
mhm.
also, yeah, sorry, Sam.
No,
And another thing that appraiser can do is make sure that they can visit the home. And how long of a process does it usually take, and what does the report usually have there?
for a home appraiser.
Yeah, it usually assesses the value of the home
Mhm.
and that sort of thing. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, we got the home inspector,
Mhm.
and with that, it's usually something we don't see in offers during a time when it's a very competitive market, but we are seeing home inspections as conditions again.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a really important step. And I know that we had read a number of articles where, although it wasn't a typical condition, or it wasn't necessarily advised when you're trying to compete with other offers. But it is a really important step because they can, highlight things with you so that you're going into the purchase with your eyes open. You're not missing out that, you know, there actually is a crack in the foundation. There's something wrong. The home inspector is going to be able to go through and they'll know what to look for and what could be a red flag versus something that's just a minor or maybe even a cosmetic issue. And I have heard in one article I was reading where if there isn't able to have a condition on a home inspection, even doing, because you will do a number of walks through the property, or you can with your real estate agent. If you know anybody who is in, home inspection or in construction at all, or is, savvy in that way, doing the walk with them could be an alternative. It's not quite the same because it's not, an official home inspection, but it can help again just to know what you're purchasing in the home that you're looking at.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of going in eyes wide open, as you say, right? And going into your purchase, knowing what to expect, and then you can then turn around and add those costs, whatever is, um, you know, pointed out by the home inspector
Mhm.
to your budget for when you move in that you will take care of. Or perhaps if it's not a very competitive market, your agent can go back and ask the seller to remedy those items or to
Mhm.
reduce the purchase price by that amount sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's a good point with the contractor because that can save you some money, and also it can also point out some opportunities, and the contractor can then turn around and book an appointment right then and there to help you with those things once you close and
Mhm.
get those renovations started.
Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mhm. And the next slide that we're going to look at is actually getting a home insurance agent. So again, the benefit of an agent is they'll be able to shop around for what insurance policies are available, and making sure that you're getting the best coverage. So again, this goes back to the example I was chatting about at the start, where sometimes there could be things that some insurers might have an issue with versus finding an insurer that is okay with the current state of the property. Having that knowledge up front and being able to chat with an agent who can maybe point you with an insurer who can cover off, whatever that issue is a huge step and definitely something to look for.
Yeah, definitely a good point, Sam. You will sometimes run into a home that has things like knob and tube electrical wiring,
Hmm.
which can be an issue for a lot of home insurance companies. Sometimes you'll have a home with a second basement unit or a legal
Right.
second suite, and then that is sometimes a concern for insurers. And another thing that you mentioned, Sam, before is aluminum wiring. So it's
Hmm.
good just to have an idea of what that is we're working with, and getting the right home insurance person to work on your insurance, because we've even seen, like, as much as it's different at every lender with different
Hmm.
rates, Sam, it can be very different in terms of rates for home insurance too, where
That's
one
right.
company with knob and tube wiring will charge twice as much as another
Hmm.
because the other company is more used to it, or
That's right.
doesn't think as much is as much of a risk.
And this really does help and come hand in hand, especially after having a home inspection done where they can, notify you of a few things to look out for, some red flags. And it can be things that maybe you miss or even your realtor misses, that, your home inspection can catch. And those are things that you definitely want to bring attention to for your home insurance.
Yeah. And it is something that is a must for the mortgage provider to be completed before closing. And what you'll need to do is make sure that is taken care of. Uh, the latest I would recommend would be a few days before closing that you're calling the insurance company. That would be the last possible minute, because you don't want to shop around last minute.
Yeah.
You want to have time to compare rates. Uh, but just having that set up so your mortgage provider is satisfied that if something bad happens, you are protected.
hmm hmm And speaking on protection, our next slide is going to be going into a life insurance agent.
That's a great segue.
Mhm. Worked out really well.
Yeah. I mean, life insurance is one of those moot points for sure.
hmm
No one likes to talk about it. No one likes to think about it. But as mortgage professionals, we are obligated to show you life insurance for your mortgage through a mortgage life insurance provider.
hmm
Yeah. And it's something that just right now, if you're thinking about buying a home and getting a mortgage, or if you have a home right now and have a mortgage, it's something to think about if you've never thought of before. Just making sure that you look at that protection, because getting protection like that earlier in life versus later in life will
Right.
cost you much less now versus setting it up later, because chances are right now you have a lot less health problems.
That's right. That's right. It's a good point to bring up for sure.
Yeah. But just making sure that you have life insurance set up ahead of time, like a broker or an agent, um, will allow you to accurately compare all the different options available to you.
hmm hmm Yeah. And moving into our next slide is going to be a pretty important person in the process, and that's going to be your real estate lawyer. They handle, quite a chunk of what happens during your purchase. So it's important, again, to find a lawyer who can do it within the timeline you're looking for. And also, this is something that we also do tend to give a number of references for when a client is coming to a close, they've made their purchase. Often we will give a number of suggestions to, look at, who's your preferred lawyer to work with. Can they do it in the timeline is a big important thing. But yeah, they do a lot of the process regarding all of the documents that are required for the sale to complete and a lot of the legal aspects that go into purchasing a home.
Yeah, good point. You know, a very important person. Without a lawyer, we would not be able to do any parts of our job setting, because we can't really register the mortgage on the title. We need the lawyer to do that.
hmm
Yeah, so they do things like the title search. They'll check title to make sure that title is clear on the home you're buying, to make sure there's no liens against it that you will take over when you purchase your property. They'll register the property in your name, so it's going to be registered in your formal, full first, middle, and last name. Um, and prepare all the statements and show you exactly what your closing costs are going to be when you're coming in for the final signing.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a big one as well because, a typical rule of thumb of what you should have saved is about 1.5% of the purchase price. But getting a breakdown and going through an assigning appointment with your lawyer to find out these are exactly the amounts you're paying, I think it gives a lot of people sort of that final peace of mind before they sign the papers, before everything, closes and you owe what you owe and you own the house. It's good to know what that is, and they can cover off also the benefits if you're a first time buyer where those closing costs are going to be with the land transfer tax rebate, they're going to be a bit lower than if it's say your second purchase or you've owned a property previously, but they'll be able to go through all of that with you, um, and we'll run through a final signing appointment.
That's great point, Sam. And with those costs that you are mentioning are involved, those closing costs, that deposit that you've put on your home earlier, once before, when you've met with your real estate agent, when you were first putting that offer on your home, whether it was $1,000 or $5,000, that money will get counted towards those closing costs that Sam is
Mhm,
talking about, just so when you come for your final signing, those amounts are deducted and taken into account for you.
mhm,
Yeah. But yeah, working with a good lawyer is very important. So, along with all the other professionals, it's good to make sure that as we are saying, to research them and to make sure also that they are available to close your file. Because with lawyers right now, especially this year, they've been so overloaded, Sam, just with files. And a lot of the times when we're sending in a file for a purchase, they're able to do it because obviously they're committed to that date. But in
Mhm.
terms of a refinance, we're seeing that they are so behind that they are pushing those files as far out as they can.
That's right. Yeah, it's definitely good to be ahead of the curve, especially when it comes to your lawyers.
Yeah.
Mhm. And to finish off our last, part of the process that is actually an optional one that we have seen, some folks using before is just a home stager. So this is great if, you're looking to sell your home, whether it's getting into a new purchase from the sale of your home. A home stager could be part of it if, your house needs a little bit of TLC. Maybe it's a bit cluttered. I know that some people just are not, what's the term? They're not decor forward. Things might be dated. So having a home stager can help, it look a bit nicer, maybe sell faster, get some higher offers.
That's right. Absolutely, Sam. Home stagers definitely do a great job, as you're saying, if you're not decor forward and just having those items in your homes is sometimes placed in the right spot. Maybe having a professional look at your place and remove some clutter at times can make your
Mhm.
home pop, whereas it wouldn't pop before. And you might get that buyer that falls in love with exactly your home looks like.
And it makes it look lived in and they can picture the space a bit better. I know that looking at places
Yeah.
that may be already, vacated and completely empty, it can be hard to visualize the space, but, a properly staged home can definitely help your sale sometimes go again faster, or for more offers, it could result in a higher selling price. So it's definitely a valuable person to have if you're in the process of selling your home.
Yes, of course. With regards to all these folks that we're talking about today, though, Sam, if anyone can take one thing home is that you always start with your mortgage professional, and
Hmm.
that's something that we cannot stress enough.
Yeah.
We see real estate agents contact us all the time saying, okay, this client's contacted us. Can you guys please make sure that they're pre-approved? And then, let us know. And the same with a home inspector or real estate
Hmm.
appraiser. You wouldn't start there. You would always start with your mortgage professional to see what you qualify for and to get those numbers secure upfront.
Absolutely. Yeah. We want to know that, we have a financing plan in place and you know accurately what you can expect in a home purchase. So we have our phone number on the screen if you're looking to reach out to us. You can also email us at joe@joebladek.com. You can also comment on this video or send us a direct message if you're watching this video. I know that recently we've been getting a lot of people reaching out to us through Facebook. And if that's, an easier method for you, that's awesome. But yeah, we would love to chat with you about, your options and where you sit in the market.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. We appreciate all your comments, suggestions. If anyone ever has a topic that they would like seen on our show, please also drop us a comment below or send us a message. But we'll see you guys all next week, Thursday at 11:30 for
Mhm.
episode 33.
33.